Biden goes to Europe, and he is astride the global stage right now, and we're all just hoping that he doesn't trip or go the wrong direction or make a bigger mess of things than he already has. You can already see Biden has had plenty of gaffe moments, plenty of very unsurprising, and some would even say senior moments. And look, nobody wants to point out the guy's, he's almost 80, right? I mean, we're all going to be there, hopefully, one day, right? We're all going to get to that age and have those senior moments. It's going to happen. But this guy's the leader of the free world. He's the president of the United States. That's not exactly confidence-inspiring, is it? I mean, here he is. He wandered into a cafe in Cornwall, and everyone started laughing at him.
How are your meetings going in Cornwall, Mr. President?
I beg your pardon?
How are your meetings going here in Cornwall?
Very well.
Come on.
Really nice evening. They always do.
Now, look, I don't want to be a scold. Like, people are kind of laughing. There's the president, and he's wandering around, and it looks like he doesn't really know where he is. It could happen to people, but in the totality of the circumstances, it does start to feel like, look, he's lost a few steps, right? I mean, remember this before we say too much about where Biden is with all this and what he's portraying to the world as a leader. It was a regular news cycle, particularly in the first couple of years of the Trump presidency, that Donald Trump was actually crazy and that there should be an invocation of the 25th Amendment to remove him from office, right? Remember that? Remember that? That was what was being talked about there. So I just want to note that we are at a point here where we got to start looking at what's really going on with this guy, because the moment that he's not reading right off a prompter or doing the most kind of rehearsed, here I am, I'm Joe Biden, I'm saying boilerplate nonsense, and then I'm disappearing, people start to have their questions. I mean, here he is during a speech calling Syria, Libya 3 times.
We could work together with Russia. For example, in Libya, we should be opening up the passes to be able to go through and provide food assistance and vital assistance to a population that's in real trouble. They have also bitten off some real problems they're going to have trouble chewing on. And for example, the rebuilding of Syria, of Libya, they're there. So I'm hopeful that we can find an accommodation where we can save the lives of people for example, in Libya.
It's like watching a dusty old VHS tape from the late 80s or something, where you can see it gets a little fuzzy, you kind of know where it's going, and it keeps going, but you also worry that it could just stop at any moment. Remember that used to happen with old VHS tapes? Sometimes their tape would just stop and there'd be a problem. You feel like Joe Biden, the train of thought here could just come off the tracks at any point in time, and there's just a lot of this. I mean, again, here he is, the guy's on the world stage. If there were big takeaways here, things that we could actually focus on from a policy perspective, that'd be great. What are we really worried about now in the free world? If we're going to talk about Joe Biden as a leader of the free world, what are we really concerned about? Well, he would say climate change, because that's a religion of the left that's completely detached from reality, but they really believe in this stuff. The world's going to melt unless we control all the CO2 emissions, which is never going to happen at the rate that they say we have to. But they'll just keep adjusting every 10 years and pretending like, now the real crisis is upon us. But China is a big challenge. I think we all can agree, at least, that China is a major challenge. Are we coming out of this conference with our European allies with any real sense of how to handle China? He keeps talking about speaking to Putin in a way that it's very clear what U.S. expectations are and what some of the pushback will be against Russian provocations. Have we gotten any sense of what that will actually mean? Well, what are we going to do? Oh, he's just going to stare Putin down with his aviators? That's the idea? You see that Time magazine cover, that's what they were doing. Meanwhile, look, these are some of the more, any one of these things, I'll admit, you'd say, come on, how big a deal is it? But here he is. Joe Biden says he's been in office 120 days. It's been 145.
I'm going to get in trouble with my staff. Yeah, go ahead, but I pretend that you didn't answer you.
Thank you very much, sir. You have often said repeatedly that America is back.
Yes.
At the same time, you've kept in place some Trump-era steel and aluminum sanctions. And I wanted to ask you, when you're having these conversations with European allies who are very concerned about these sanctions, how do you justify that? And what are your plans to do?
120 days. Give me a break. Need time. Thanks.
Okay. Do you think that we're going to get to 180 days and it'll be need time, and then 365 days? And you can already tell that this is one way that he'll be dealing with the media. Haven't had enough time. But it's 145 days. Look, on its own, maybe that wouldn't really raise any eyebrows, but the guy's wandering around, seems lost, forgets the country he's talking about, doesn't know how many days he's been in office. It seems like something. Oh, forgets when a fellow leader of a nation state has already been introduced. Here he is talking about the leader of South Africa. Boris Johnson made a little joke of it.
And just say how pleased I am to welcome those who have just joined us, bringing some pretty spectacular weather with them. Prime Minister Modi, President Ramaphosa, President Moon, in just a minute. And the President of South Africa. And the President of South Africa, as I said earlier. Oh, you did? I certainly did.
But you get to mention twice. So.
I'll go over that again. Let me tell you, we're delighted. Mr. President, I'm glad to say we're joined by Prime Minister Modi.
I mean, is he having senior moments? This is what you have to wonder. And why wouldn't he be? The guy's almost 80. And Democrats foisted him on the country as the answer to our problems. He'll unify us. No, he won't. He'll be a steady hand on foreign policy. No, he won't. He's going to be a leader. No, he won't. So what are we even doing here?